the beer train, people. You know, you may take it for granted. You can walk into a bar such as this on any night of the week and order up just about any legal beverage you can imagine. But people, that was not always the case. In fact, there was a near fateful night when the beer train almost didn't come. Let me tell you about it. It was a quarter to midnight on Christmas Eve when they called up that old engineer. They said a storm's on its way and the track's half buried, but somebody's gotta haul that beer. So we climbed into the cab of that old locomotive and he took that beer down the line. But the wind started howling and the snow started falling and the tracks grew thick with ice. Well, that old engineer hung his head out the window, raised his fist in the air and he yelled. He said, it's gonna take more than a snowstorm to stop me, 'cause I got beer to haul. But that snow, it kept on drifting. The wheels kept on slipping. The engine moaned and the lights went black. And somewhere in the darkness of that lonesome Christmas Eve, that beer train froze in its tracks. Well, that old engineer, he called out to his crew. He said, boys, drag a couple dozen kegs on up.
Hello, hello. Happy
Hi,
Friday. It is Friday, right?
It's always Friday in this house.
It's kind of true, actually. I don't know why I even bother asking. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Time to crack a beer is what it is. Hi, everybody. I'm Ashlie, and this is Lauren, and you're at Bring Singles, which is our bi-weekly. Is it bi-weekly if it's every other week?
I don't really want to get into that because I'm not sure.
Okay, well, it's our every other week show where we talk about our favorite things, which is strip clubs, dive bars, gambling, and drag shows. And tonight is our first dive bar evening, so
Remember bars, guys?
welcome. I'm gonna do a shot.
Remember drinking until 4 in the morning? Like with other humans? And
Remember
maybe even
drinking
later?
till, like, no. The latest I've ever been in a bar,
Wonder which one.
yeah, exactly, was 9:30 a.m.
Hmm.
After the Hanks Christmas party, and it was not at Hanks, obviously. We went there, and I left at, technically I was there till 9, but then I left at 9:30 because I left all my stuff there. Like I just left everything.
Oh, man. Yeah,
then
walking
I had to go
out
back.
into broad daylight is a special sort of feeling
Go
that
back. Cheers,
don't
everybody.
know
I'm doing a
yet.
shot if anybody wants to do a shot with me.
do a shot with Ashlie. What are you doing? Fucking measuring cups?
Oh yeah, I'm in quarantine housing in Vancouver, and they didn't have shot glasses, so I'm just.
In Canada, they do shots. That's customary.
It's true.
do
Oh,
shots
you're
out
not
of
doing
a-
that yet. That
Yeah,
hasn't reached the States yet. That's like a Leon Chase trick. When somebody calls you out on something, you just pretend like it's the hottest shit you've ever done that like they don't get.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly effective.
All right, let's get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
So-
First,
Oh.
can we say that we are part of the pop culture co-op? I feel like that's important. This is
Yeah.
a channel made by women and non-binary people for everyone, for the rest of us. So if you're a woman or non-binary person that wants to join, come talk to us. But you don't have to be a woman or non-binary person to hang. You're always welcome here, unless you're a dick, and then we're gonna make you leave, just like we would at our bars.
Yeah, pretty much. Same rules sort of apply. Yeah, what else? Oh, yeah, then you can subscribe if that's your thing. There's a way to do it if you have Amazon Prime, in which it's just covered under your Prime subscription. So
Right.
you might as
It's pretty
well.
good. And if one of your friends is on the fence and is here as a visitor tonight, you can gift them a subscription, or as all bartenders love, you can tip us with bits. So if you go to the chat, there's a little like arrowy thing, and you can click on that and you can buy bits. 100 bits is $1 tip for us, and it goes right into the kitty. And I don't mean the vagina, I mean the kitty for the Pop Culture Co-op. If you want money to go into my vagina, wash it first and we'll talk.
Wash your vagina first or wash the money? Yeah, so also you can also PayPal if, real actual currency is your sort of thing.
Right. We're
we
immediate
should put-
gratification people, so we like seeing
right.
tips and bits. But if you're the sort of friend that we like cancel on your brunch, send it through the PayPal. It's better for us, really. We don't.
And this
enjoy
is
it.
the time where you get to actually put a penny on the bar and nobody's going to throw it at you, because the bit is okay here. It's totally fine. And we can't projectile do anything through here, unfortunately, because it would make the show a lot more interesting. Anyway, let's get down to business.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's get to that whiteboard.
Ooh, you guys, we have a whiteboard. We're
Like
really
a real
excited about
ESPN
this.
kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're going to have a very in-depth discussion tonight about, first of all, what makes a dive bar. And Lauren and I have not discussed our beliefs on this.
I mean, we probably have at some point, but I can't recall.
Yeah, like most of the content in this show, we don't really remember. So, like, what do you think? So we've got Stacy on the whiteboard. She's going to help us out. We're really excited. Ooh, yes, look at those bits go in the beer stein. Very exciting.
Oh, draw a dick? That's why I'm not allowed to have the whiteboard control. I already said that in our meeting yesterday.
100% true.
What I think, when you're talking about dive bars, I think there's an interesting distinction. Like, there's places that are old, like decrepit kind of comes into the mix, but then there's another essence to dive bars, which I think is kind of impalpable, that there's like the dive that you mean it's legitimate, just disgusting, like it's a dive. And then there's places that are a dive because they're kind of in disrepair, but they're more cool. I don't know, like there's this, like, it's this thing you just know, like there's not really a way to describe it. You either
But
got
then there's also like imposter dives, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
there's like
fuck
the
that shit.
gentrified dive where you're like, dive bars did not like set out to be dive bars. There's a general lack of care on certain aspects that makes things a dive bar. They care about some things.
I think we should put up disrepair. Disrepair is number one.
Yeah, disrepair.
I would say that I actually
Slash neglect.
This stupid hipster kid way back in the day at Hank's. He asked us where we got our register, and we had like a register from like 1910 or something. And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, where'd you get the register?" And I was like, "Target." He was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, "Fucking idiot! Like, what are you talking about?" Like,
which was a total lie because we actually got it at Home
places
Goods.
have like dive bars that are like manufactured. This kid is like stupid and thinks that like Hank's was curated. Like anybody was that crazy.
Sure, but you've been in those bars. I've been in those bars.
I know,
Like,
like you
all
can
of these
tell.
stickers were put on here at the same time before this bar ever served a customer.
We're not gonna give any more air to that kind of concept. All right.
No, that's fair. Okay, wait. Can I throw in number two then?
Sure.
Okay. I think a very important aspect of a dive bar, and I like thought really hard about this because I can't think of one that I respect that doesn't, as a beer shot special.
All right. But I would say
for the economy drinkers, they have to have at
Sure.
least a beer that's $3 or less.
Yes, cheap
or a beer shot special.
cheap beer.
Because
Absolutely.
they want to keep regulars, and times are tough.
Yes, I do think that there are some dives that lean towards not wanting to give a beer and a shot special just because they try to slow people down naturally. Like,
Sure.
and I've worked at places that are that level, but I think that if you're already at that point, it's kind of just done anyway. Oh, that's a good point, Nerd Derby. 50% toilet urinal functionality. Yeah,
That
there
is
definitely
like-
has to be a lot of plumbing problems, like
Yes.
at least 2 major ones.
Right, right. Like 5 little or 2 major.
Yes, for sure. Like there has to be standing water at least 30 days of the year, or it's not a dive bar.
No, absolutely. I am very proud of. I talk about this all the time, and it finally got fixed. It finally did get fixed just in time for us to close. But Hanks had. You used to have to come down the stairs in the basement to change a keg or whatever, and you would stand on the top step, and there was a pole
All right.
that you would
Let's not
grab
talk about the
onto,
sump pump.
and then there was
I'm
a
trying
big,
to have a good time.
yes, and then there was a big rock, sort of like placed strategically in the middle of the
there's
floor.
a magic stream underneath Hanks that
Yeah.
makes it special. Like it's obviously enchanted. The DEP and the EPA couldn't figure out what it is and
They
why
had
it's
no
there.
idea. Yeah.
No idea.
So you would swing from the next to bottom step, holding onto the pole, and like hopscotch across this huge rock so that your
Yeah,
shoes
very
would
Indiana
lift so-
Jones.
to land in the walk-in. It was pretty.
Yeah,
good.
but then like you'd have to kick the sump pump so it would start like pumping water out again. It was a nightmare for sure.
And we loved it.
Oh, my cousin's watching. Hi, Amanda. She's a
Hi,
dive bar
Amanda.
princess too. Dive bar princesses.
Right? It's true.
Mama.
Amanda and I almost got into a fist fight over a cunt necklace that that Lauren gave for a white elephant at Hanks, and we were so like I got the last number, and I didn't know Amanda that well. I already really liked her, but I didn't know her that well, and I like ganked that fucking cunt necklace from her, and it just said like cunt, and she was legitimately mad at me, I think, for like fully.
What I think was awesome about that is that I think that's the year that Tessa and Amanda were wearing matching velour sweatsuits, like red. One was red and one was green because it was a Christmas party.
We sort of stole that from them, didn't we?
Well, I mean, no, because I came across an awesome champion outfit on TJ Maxx doesn't mean we stole the idea, and that they happen to have another color. And then my sister also has a third color because it's going to be amazing.
I mean, it's a good point, right? Like matching outfits in different colors is not something they made up, right? Like
Definitely
they
not.
stole it from the Power Rangers. That's fine.
So I think also electrical circuitry needs to be compromised for sure. Like there's audio problems, but there's most likely Christmas lights, not because it's cute, but because there's just no electric functioning anymore in the places where they used to have light. Like
Same
Hanks,
for
like there were
candles.
just no lights. You couldn't.
And candles.
People were like, "Where's the light?" It's like, "Oh, like you." It was like so ridiculous. If you could show that picture of the end of the bar of Hanks, you can get
Oh,
a
yeah,
feel for
Hanks.
the level of disrepair.
Yeah, yeah, it was real bad. And we also used candles because it was way cheaper.
Candles are, I do like the ambiance. I do think it's crazy to let drunk people near fire, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is nice. Oh, it looks really pretty from that angle. Because you can't smell a picture.
Exactly. You
That's
can't
why.
smell a picture. Yeah, see, it does look really cozy. And that's probably that's daytime, right? So it's still dark in there, but it's not as dark as it would be if it was nighttime because there is still a little bit of light coming from the front.
That raises a great question.
Which,
What do you feel about dark in the daytime as a dive bar requirement?
no, I don't think it's a requirement. Like, so if you see in this picture of Hanks, like if you were sitting at the bar, you'd be facing long way, the windows would be behind you. So Hanks had like a nice thing where there was a little bit of light at the front. So if you didn't mind it, you could sit near it. But if you wanted to get further back, you were kind of more blacked out. It wasn't always like that because there used to be windows that weren't functioning as like soundproof situations. So obviously it's changed over the years, but I don't know. Sometimes I like the reality of knowing it's still dark out. I mean, like light out. Like when I'm surprised, like I always felt like O'Connor's, you would go in and it was like permanent midnight, man. You didn't know what the fuck time it was. And I find that a little disconcerting.
Sure. But then you have places like Canal Bar and like that have like nice big windows at the front. So you get a little more life and air in it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the main reason a lot of people don't like daylight in the dive bar is because they like to see the dive bar. They don't really want to see it with the lights on. Like, it's not good. It's
Right.
usually like, it's not it doesn't make you feel good. Oh, a bucket under something dripping is good. Oh yeah, there's lots of drips and buckets.
Always.
Um,
There's also always Coffee brought up that her go-to in college had a beer can museum, and I do think there are random collections of shit like on level of hoarding at most dive bars.
I'm sorry, I have to give a shout out. I forgot we didn't plug Leon, Uncle
Oh
Leon.
my god! And I told you to remind me.
Well, I told you to write it down. If you like the music that was playing before we kicked our video in, that is Leon Chase, Uncle Leon and the Alibis.
And you can check out his music at uncleleon.com. It's great to drink to, and a slow dance to, and
yeah, it really gives a dive bar feel. It's very magical.
Yeah, Leon and his band used to play at Hank's a lot, which is actually I gave him my number there.
Oh, nice.
Before
I think we need to bang through some of these photos.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can we get Hank's picture number 2 up there? So I think another quintessential part of dive bars is you're not embarrassed to make out there, like at any time of the day, and you're totally comfortable getting an STD from the furniture there. Like that's okay too. So we have a photo here of Hank's. I don't know, this isn't even that late in the evening. And my friend is pointing at a couple making out on the couch, which didn't really have a name, but that is where people enjoyed showing us what they had, which is always funny because it's underneath that painting. There's a painting of 2 men and a woman on a couch, which I've hated. I hate it so much. Like,
why did you hate it?
Because it just, we're not going to get into that.
Okay, yeah, no, that's for later talk. Yeah, sure.
Sure. It just, I think like another bar that you could make out with, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Finger Bang Corner at Last Exit, which we're going to get to later.
Hype train incoming. Hype train. I'm very excited about this.
What is hype train? What is hype
that
train?
That our tips are going wild. If we get if we use bits to get to the next level,
it's not a surprise.
Making it rain. I'm very excited.
So, all right, next picture.
Oh, yeah.
Bathrooms. Number 3. Bathrooms of dive bars obviously need to like kind of be a little uncomfortable. Like you don't want to be jazzed up about having to pee at a dive bar.
No.
I honestly don't know how I worked at Hank's for as long as I did without having a meltdown. But yeah,
To be honest, though, I felt like the Hank's bathroom was less likely to have piss on the seat than the Last Exit bathroom.
So this is the Hank's bathroom.
90%.
4 people shoved in it, drinking.
Yeah. I took a wedding photo in there.
There were holes in the walls. Oh, we're going to have to show some of those on a later show.
Oh, yeah. Good call. I got that one. Julie took it. It's great. Yeah. The bathrooms, at least the women's bathroom at Hank's had a lock, right? Like the men's bathroom did not have a lock.
Well, wait, but that had to happen. Oh my God. I'm not even getting into that. That's all.
Okay, but wait, I have a story about that though.
Okay.
Which
you
is
can tell us.
that, so the bathroom did not have a lock. And when my fella, Leon, first started going to Hank's and was there at his new bass player, Neil, was working behind the bar and told him, like, hey man, can you just get me some paper towels out of the men's bathroom? And Leon was like, sure, I want to be helpful. You're my friend. Opens the door. Little does he know that there is a man named Mike Higgins who they actually had to move the chair that he sat in, the recliner that he sat in at the end of the bar, out of the bar at one point. But he would go and take a shit the same time every day. But he didn't shit like I assume most people shit, unless you guys are keeping something from me. He would shit, and then he would stand up, and ass to the door, would lean over and wipe his ass with his asshole.
This is gross.
Pointing out. Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I think that's what Leon felt too. So because the door was unlocked, Leon went in and was treated to like full asshole Mike Higgins wiping shit from his butt. It was a rite of passage.
Yeah, I feel like in some way I enjoy the fact that happened every once in a while because fuck every dude. I'm sorry, but all right, let's go to the last picture, which I think kind of is a key part of dive bars, and it might be the wrap up. I mean, we have to probably populate this list because we got to move on with the other stories. But I
Right.
will say that you need legendary bartenders at a dive bar. That is part of it. Is their personality. There's take no shit attitude, and we have a picture of the legend, Jeannie. This is Jeannie at the American Legion flipping the bird.
Yep. Yep. Jeannie
We'll
works
have
at the
Jeannie-
American Legion now, and if you love her and go there when we're able to drink together again, she will get you genied,
Yeah, she'll Jeannie you.
which means that she will just serve you so many shots that it feels like work, and it's wonderful. But you're just like,
make it like saying no your job. Like you have to just like put your foot down and be like, no. Like you literally have to tell her that like except me when she cuts me off because I'm dancing like a rock star.
Laura got cut off last time. It was
I mean, just because I slide across the floor on my knees doesn't mean I'm over the limit. Okay. That just
Yeah,
means
you
I
do
know
that
how to
at the
fucking have a goddamn good time. All right. And I didn't even have bruises on my knees because I know how to fucking slide.
right.
And
Just because you bring the party doesn't mean you should be cut off.
Yeah,
But
but
she
actually,
also,
I also
like-
love that she cut me off because it was so perfect.
And you sent me to the bar to like try and get you more drinks, but you only stood like 4 feet away from me. And we're like,
Hey, I stood at least 6 feet away from you. All right, you
oh,
hear
yeah,
me?
no, that's true. That's
I
true.
was at least 6 feet away.
Yeah, yeah. But like we were the only 2 people in there, so it was a little obvious. You know what I mean? That like you were just like looking at the ceiling, waiting to see if I could get you a drink. Suffice to say, we did not fool her.
Yeah, but we got
Um,
one like not too long after that.
No, it's true. You got to wake up pretty early in the morning to get one past Jeannie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true.
I don't like if you. I just never. It's never worth getting her angry either because she's just the best. But
no.
all right. Any
No.
other qualities we want to throw on this list?
I think one of the greatest qualities of a dive bar is it retains its sense of self, but it goes through several iterations during the
Sure.
course of one day. So like
Yeah.
dive bars can be open in the morning for like, for what I have heard called God's waiting room, where like people are just like drinking at 9 a.m. And then it goes to, the teachers are usually like the 3 p.m.ers and then the happy hour and then into the band, into the night. And like, it's a different group of people every 3 to 4 hours. Julie is correct. Genie shots are not shots. They're full cups of tequila.
Like so, I went to visit Jeannie like early December. I was like really, I'm really trying to like not drink that much anymore. And I'm like, Jeannie, all right, I'll just have I'll have an amaretto on the rocks. I was like, that's like not really drinking. It's kind of like, whatever. It's like what I drank when I was 16 at the Algonquin Hotel.
And we made great choices then.
And she gave me a like the 16-ounce solo cup, like half full of amaretto and a cup of ice on the side. And I was like, what is this? This is not how it's done. Like there's no there's no my sister points out a good point, a morning happy hour. In the good days, man, I feel like people want to be healthy, but I think after this is over, people are gonna want to drink all the time again. Like in public.
That's okay. I have a question for you, but I'll ask it later.
All right. Well, I was going to say, I think we should hit on some of the stories that we highlighted. I mean, we can always add to this list as we go, but I think we've covered like the essence.
For sure. So like, can I ask you like one of my questions? Because it seems relevant at this moment.
Sure.
Which is, so there's not going to be probably a magic moment where everything is safe and okay and happy again, right? But like, if there was, what would be the first places you went on the first day to party? The first day it was perfectly safe to go back into bars again. Where would you go?
Pyramid Club, dancing.
Me too. Yeah, but that would be after 3 other places for sure.
Right. Like I feel like Freddy's would probably be the first bar. But it's tough times because I feel like there's no certainty of what's going to be around. But like I think dancing is kind of what I just gotta do. Like, there's this other place that's awesome that opened recently in Williamsburg called JJ's Hideaway. I hope it manages to survive this situation because they have a light up motherfucking dance floor. It's like being in the Billie Jean video, and they
Mhm,
make mudslides, and they're not annoyed at you when you like. It's like
mhm.
it's like a new dive bar, but it's not contrived. It's just fucking. They nailed it. Like they just know how to fucking present. Uh, but yeah, that's a good question. What's your answer?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but I think I would probably. There's so many places that I've been dying to go back to, right? Like I think I would start at South Freddy's, then go down to Canal. It's like my tried and true this trajectory, right? Um, and then I thought that I actually would want to go um, and do some drugs and then go dancing. I really like. I haven't done this in a long time. This is also a good bar story. I really like the idea of timing hallucinogens so that they hit like right when you enter a club. Um, I definitely in Arkansas at a place that I will not name um, with my buddy Mike Poe definitely dropped while he was still doing the count so that like he had to make sure the register was reconciled before the drugs kicked in. That's a good moment. We were a little derailed because then we had to go see his friend's kid. Our friend had a baby, so instead of like being at a party, we were like in a hospital trying to hide our pupils to go see an infant. But
Oh, Jesus.
it was great. I mean, it was that kind of thing where we were just like, "Oh, he's so beautiful." If anything, I got like too emotional and
I
reaffirmed.
think if I showed up to drugs, like on drugs at the hospital, my friends would all be not that surprised, but very annoyed. Like I think I'll like draw the line at puking at my best friend's 3-year-old's birthday party last year because I was hungover because I was with you at Freddy's until like 6 in the morning and I threw up tater tots like with like just fucking chipotle mayo. Oh, it was not good.
Chipotle mayo.
I mean, it was fun at the time, but
Oh yeah, for
not
sure. It
good
was fun at the
on the
time.
other side.
Yeah, I think I would go.
So
I think I would want to hit everywhere, but then I think about places, and the places I would really want to go are closed, right? Like I
right.
would want to go into the city and hit Milano's. I would want to go. I would probably cruise by Fish Bar. I would
Oh
want
yeah,
to,
fish bar is up there for sure.
yeah, go to the back of Botanica. I want to go to. I want to go to Fat Black Pussycat like 10 years ago, not Fat Black Pussycat
Oh,
now.
don't no, God, Leon. I like Leon calling me out. Oh yeah, drag
Calling
show.
you
My
out.
sister's drag show for sure.
Oh yes, of course.
I would also want to go to House of Yes, but I feel like I'd have to wait a little bit before it would just be too crowded, and then that would like just we don't need to get into my agoraphobia.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm gonna poll the audience, but in the meantime, I'm gonna ask Ashley a question so you guys can come up with some stuff. We're looking to ask each other questions about, what's like, this is the question I'm asking Ashley. So something like this, what is your favorite dive bar outside of New York?
Oh, I mean, the immediate answer is the one I chose to get fucking married in, right? Like the Whitewater Tavern in Little Rock, Arkansas is one of the most special bars in the world. It's owned by a couple of friends of mine who took it over from a guy named Goose, and they have kept it one of the most uh, like
Changing times. Sorry. Yeah, there's a bar in Northport, Gunther's, that would be visited.
gotcha.
Gotta give it up for
Fantastic.
Gunther's Tap Room. All right,
Fantastic.
sorry to
So
interrupt
no,
Ashley.
like Whitewater Tavern is not a dive bar as much as it is a roadhouse, right? Like Billy Joe Shaver plays there. Like when Billy Bragg came to protest at Ferguson, the only place he hit before he went back overseas was a secret show at Whitewater Tavern. The place is amazing. I know everyone there. They really believe in Arkansas rice beers, Budweiser and Bud Light, which are made with Arkansas rice. Cheers. But I would have to give second and third place to Kelly's in Pittsburgh is definitely my second, and third would be Handlebars Hong Kong, which is in the red light district in Hong Kong, and they serve Budweiser and Jack Daniels, and the jukebox is full of Kiss.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say mine are two bars in Vegas that were both in walking distance from my apartment downtown. And one is Atomic Liquor, which is the oldest bar in Vegas. It was in Casino. It's awesome. They make a beer float cocktail. It's like mezcal, watermelon juice, and then like a beer float, like a saison. Like it's if anybody, and it's habanero. It's like everything I like in a drink. And I'm like, how did they read my mind? That place is awesome. And Dino's is another bar in Vegas, which has been open forever, and they have karaoke actually on the week. I think both nights of the weekend. It's pretty critical. But yeah, there's lots of good dive bars in Georgetown, Seattle. But it's been so long, I don't even know where to like start with that.
You know what? You know what? One of my favorite dive bars was that is no longer the same. Just to be like old as shit about it. I remember going to Holiday Cocktail Lounge.
Oh yeah, Holiday.
The old guy worked there, and if you waited there, if you were there long enough, and I mean this is like classic dive, red vinyl booze, little circular bar, great jukebox. But there was an old guy and his daughter that ran it, and if you stayed there as he got drunker and drunker through the day, he would take it personally if you ordered from him, right? Because you were like taking liquor away from him. And so he wouldn't take your order. He would just sing opera at you and refuse to fill your drink order. So you could sit there, you had to like get drunk. You had to like get drunk faster than he could get drunk. Otherwise you would never get served in time.
I think that
it's like a game.
By not mentioning that we would go to Jimmy's Corner.
Oh God.
And we'd also go to Ruby's.
And Ruby's. Yeah.
Those are two bars that I feel like I end up, like the magical moments where you end up at these places without planning, and it's always the most fun.
Yeah, you're right. And they're the only bars worth going to Midtown for in New York. Like,
Julie Ibkar wants to add Sophie's to that, which is funny because I was at Sophie's one night, and the actor that plays Lip on Shameless, I don't know his name, who Julie loves, was there.
Flip kid. Yeah.
And then the next night I was at Freddy's, probably with you, and he was at Freddy's. And so I went up to him and I was like,
I've never seen him in the
I'm sorry to be weird, but like I was at Sophie's last night and I saw you, and I saw you tonight, and I was like, my friend isn't coming to meet me. Will you take a selfie with me just to taunt her? And he did. It was totally great.
No, I've never seen him around. People always tell me that they've seen him. He's like,
oh God,
Snuffleupagus's imaginary friend. Like I can't find him anywhere.
My sister in the chat mentioned
Jimmy's Corner. I want to tell some folks about Jimmy's Corner really quick.
My sister mentioned Siberia in the chat, but we're gonna get to Siberia. That's a whole episode, Allison.
Yeah, that's its own thing. Jimmy's Corner was owned by a boxer named Jimmy, who then was a corner man, and was in his 80s, I guess, and passed away recently due to COVID. And he was always in the bar. His son was running it, but he would always come by and squeeze shoulders. And the bar is decorated with all of like the press from his boxing events. But it was also the only place in the theater district where you could get like a $4 beer or a $4 shot.
Tanqueray and tonic was $3.50.
Yeah, it was insane.
It was like I went to Hamilton with my cousin because she accidentally entered the lottery for New York, even though she lived in DC, and she drove up. So like I was like, I'm gonna get her like hammered. We go to Jimmy's. Like the drinks are like so cheap, and of course we meet like a couple and they start buying us drinks.
Yeah.
We were in the front row, like pretty drunk at Hamilton.
Ooh, because if you gotta pee in the front row, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, I'm never getting up during an act, and that's why I get UTIs all the time. I'm not getting up.
Flag how many times we talk about our vaginas this evening.
UTI is not your vagina. Do we need to talk about that? Do we need to get the whiteboard out again?
No. You're right. Our genital region.
Yeah.
That's fair, right? It connects.
Genitals.
Genitals. Anyway, Stacey's like, can we bring the whiteboard back? We should probably get back on topic. Oh, but the last thing I'm going to say about Jimmy's is that they interviewed him a few years ago, and they said, and because he owned that space, and so they'd say, why are your prices so low? And he said, well, I was supposed to be a billionaire, and I forgot, so I sell $3 beers. And that was all he had to say about it. It was really beautiful. Nancy, you're right. The general down there, I guess, is the way to evade censure.
Well, I think that's a good segue to Finger Bang Corner at Last Exit. Let's bring up the first Finger Bang photo. This is myself and Mitch, my friend who used to bartend with me.
I was wondering what descriptor you were going to use for him. You hesitated before friend. I was like,
yeah, well, there's so many adjectives that could go in there. But so we're standing in front of Finger Bang Corner in Halloween costumes. I'm not sure which picture this is because I'm on the delay. Oh, Wonder Man. Oh, there you go. Perfect. All right. So yeah, I'm Wonder Woman and he's actually Wonder Mitch. It's not Wonder Man, it's Wonder Mitch. And yeah, so that's Finger Bang Corner behind us. And the reason we called it that is because it was like just like around the bar, so like you couldn't really be seen. So if people were like on a date, they'd always end up there. And like we always, especially when we were closing, we'd have to go downstairs and like restock and like come up and like they're just like people were just making out. So we just ended up calling it Finger Bang Corner. Let's get to the number 2 Finger Bang Corner picture.
Yes, please.
And it was the darkest area of the bar, but we could also turn the lights up very bright, like really quick, which was very fun.
Yeah, which was the best part, honestly. Oh, you guys look amazing.
I mean, if we were going up and down the stairs to change kegs or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
The second photo is us dressed as Robert Palmer and one of his video ladies.
It's real good.
And people were like, were you guys at a funeral? This was like probably October 30th, so it wasn't quite Halloween, and people were confused. But like, we played this. I mean, I think Navarro was DJing, so he wouldn't play it as often as I wanted. But
right, you wanted like every 15 minutes. You guys, yeah. I have to tell you, I used to bartend before Mitch and Lauren, and this was like when I was a baby bartender. And first of all, Lauren would come in and move everything while Mitch sort of like apologized for her because I would have stuff and I would still be finishing and Lauren would just be full on doing whole setups of like I'd turn around for a coaster and I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But the first night I worked at Last Exit, I remember people started coming in and a lot of people were ordering vodka cranberries, like a lot
wine
of people.
And red wine.
Yeah, but like the vodka, but like people order red wine, you know what I mean? But like there were just a lot of, so much so that I had to like go downstairs and get another vodka cranberry. And I remember coming up with one and Lauren goes, you should get 2. And I was like, what? And you were like, you should get 2. And I was like, okay. And so I went down and got another. And then I came up and I found out that Lauren had placed personal ads.
This was like a slow summer night. You know, you do what you can.
Yeah. So Lauren placed personal ads. I don't even remember what fucking kinky shit you put it in for.
Not personal ads. It was like on the Craigslist, like, I don't know, meetup or like event board or whatever. I forget like what it's particularly called, right. But
so basically like
I did 2 different events.
On females for males and males for females, right? Was how it went. And it was like, wear a red shirt
and order a red drink.
And order a red drink if you're down
to clown. A swingers night. Yeah. And then I also did a motorcycle group one too.
Yeah.
But we didn't really have a cross.
So all I know is it looks like a fucking softball club. The amount of red shirts lining up at my bar all of a sudden at 7:45 p.m. on a Friday. And they're all ordering red wine and vodka cranberries. And Mitch doesn't know either. Mitch is just as puzzled as I am.
I actually think my brother and his best friend came to the bar. My brother doesn't drink, but my brother and Jeremy came because they wanted to see if it had. And then they were ordering red drinks too because they thought it was funny, and they wore red. It was great. It was really
That's
great.
it. Hey, thanks for the tips, Coffee. Y'all are blowing it up. I
Insider
really appreciate it.
trading. She's part
Yes.
of the
Oh,
show.
Allison. Oh, don't get me started. Thanks
Um,
for the tip, Allison. Allison's number one. I'm
fuck
just
yeah.
saying.
So,
Obvious.
all
Yeah.
right. Well,
I'm like, what else?
I was gonna go to the Mars bar story that I have. So basically,
Oh yeah, do that.
Daria, who used to work at Hanks, who is awesome and she's an amazing musician, she used to work at Mars Bar. And so when I started working at Hanks, she was like, oh my gosh, if you ever go to Mars Bar, get something in a bottle, don't drink draft, and don't get anything that comes in a glass. And I was like, oh God. Like Mars Bar was essentially like the diabetes bar in New York, without question,
Right.
pretty much like understood.
If you could argue that there was a bar that was grosser, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
Right.
and like I went to NYU, so like I drank at all of these bars in college because they were the cheapest. And I still didn't drink at Mars Bar in college. I mean, like also places like that are a little bit sometimes can be surly about underage stuff.
Oh,
we
actually, Allison has a
drank at
point.
Milano's a lot. Actually, Milano's is the bar that I was at when I was trying to have my tragic last underage drinking related death. My best friend and I got drunk there the last night that I was 20. Because then if I died, it was like, well, she was drinking underage. It's tragic. But if I had died, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my ex was drinking to forget me at Milano's and looked up, and there was a big Uncle Leon and the Alibi sticker right in front of him on the bar mirror.
The Village Idiot is also on that list.
So.
My sister pointed out, but we also have to. The Village Idiot's going to be a whole other show because
yeah. But I will say that the Village Idiot was the only place that smelled better before the smoking ban.
I agree.
Because as soon as the smoking ban, and when in fact you smelled all the years of vomit.
Oh, Steve is here too. This is awesome. So basically, I ended up at Mars Bar for the first time on a very, very cold January night. It was restaurant week, and I was at Butter. I took my friend Annie to Butter, and we're there, and we're like waiting for our coats, and we're about to go outside, but like we're just like gearing up for it because it's so cold. It's like one of those nights in New York where the wind chill just makes it like you don't even want to walk around the block. It's that cold.
Right.
So we're waiting to leave, and this guy comes up to us, and he's like really excited, and he's like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, this guy's jazzed up. All right." He's like, "I just won $64,000 on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Do you guys want to go celebrate?" And like Annie looks at me like kind of like, "Do you think this is safe?" And I was like, let's do it. And so he's like, all right, let's take a cab. We're gonna go to the Cock. And like the Cock is literally around the block, which I think it's still silly that we're taking a cab there, but this guy wants to pay for it. So fine. So he said he's gonna pay for the cab. We get in the cab. We're going like up and over and down. And then we get there and he's like, you gotta pay for the cab. I'm like, you said you were paying for it. He's like, oh no, wait, I left out a huge part of the story. Sorry. In the cab, he offers us cocaine.
Sure.
He's like, do you guys like to party? And I was like, oh, no, you're good. Like, you have fun. But I have, a sleep disorder. I don't need to find out what it's like to not be tired. So I said no. But we get there and he doesn't want to pay the cab driver because he's so fucked up. Like, he can't handle it. So he gives me money and then I pay the cabbie. And then we get into the Cock.
Wait, can I pause and contextualize the Cock for people that don't live here?
Yes, please contextualize
the Cock is a very, very, like, it's been around forever. It's moved a couple of times. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is like the fucking gay fucking like sex place. It's amazing. I remember a girl being on the subway being like, I'm gonna go to the Cock to this guy. And he just turned around to her and she was wearing like a white rabbit jacket. He was like, not in that jacket, you're not. And I was like, yep, you don't wear anything white to the Cock. It's filthy. And if you're a woman, you probably don't belong there. They will allow you to buy a few drinks, but as soon as like the dick sucking starts, like you got to get the fuck out, I am super glad to be unwelcome at the Cock, even though I would go there anytime I was allowed. It's filth and we're proud of it.
Yeah, this is when it was on Avenue A, right? Because this is right up the street from Mars Bar, right? So, okay, so basically we're with this guy. He says we're meeting his friends to celebrate his win. And we get out and we go in and like, first of all, I love gay bars. I don't like being at gay bars that are unwelcoming because I feel like that's there for them, and I'm not gonna crash a party that I'm not invited to. But I'm happy
being
to stay if
respectful.
I'm welcome. But
Yeah.
that's not why we were uncomfortable. We get in there, and like his group of friends is just like equally intense. It's like really intense, like yearbook club kind of vibe. And I look at Annie, and like Annie knows I've never been a smoker. I don't smoke. And like, first of all, it takes a lot for me to want to leave a room that has male go-go dancers like everywhere you look, because I literally think there should be male go-go dancers everywhere. Like at the DMV.
I agree.
Everything
at the Kroger, right?
Fuck
Like
yes.
at the self-check, absolutely.
Yeah, like on the subway platform,
Absolutely.
every time. But basically, I look at Annie, I go, I didn't get to smoke like after we ate dinner, and like the guy's like, "What?" I'm like, listen, like I need to smoke after I eat dinner. I just feel really weird. And Annie's like, yeah, me too. So like we like run outside, and then we literally sprint down the block because we're just like, these people are really weird, and we're not committed to this situation, and it's not gonna be fun in the way we want it to. So we run into Mars Bar before they can come out and look for us, because he was like, "You promise you're coming back?" And I was like, "I promise we're coming back," because like I just had to get out of there. Anyway,
if a man has to ask you that, they should know the answer.
Right. So we ordered 2 shots of Jameson's because we were so fucking cold, because it was like 7 degrees. Right. And we did the shot, and I put the glass down, and I looked at her, and I was like, "Fuck, we're not supposed to drink out of the glasses." And that was that. And I was just like, it was awesome. And that's the only time I really ever went into Mars Bar.
Wow.
Like for probably 45 seconds.
Right. And then you were like, oh shit, I broke my own rule.
Well, we waited long enough so that like they weren't gonna find us. And then I think we like, I can't imagine we took a cab back to Brooklyn, but it was the kind of cold where we might have. So
right, where you just like suck it up and are like, I guess I'm gonna.
Yeah, it was just, out. I feel like we haven't.
Karen, thanks for the tips. Oh, look at Karen making it rain. Aww. I also want to point out that 2 of my oldest Arkansas friends, Benjamin Lauren and Mike Poe, have figured out that they are both in the chat of this, which is like some good dive bar shit, right? Like finding.
For sure. It's like, yes.
I have a friend named Tim that I've known since high school, and at South, every time I came in, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, there's a guy from Arkansas that started drinking here," and I was like, "Yeah, it's a big state, Turns out it's my friend Tim, and I have no idea that he lives like 4 doors down from the bar, and he has no idea that I'm in South Slope. And it was just really beautiful and wonderful.
It's a small world, and that reminds me of the Jason Ritter story.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's not really a dive bar story.
I know, but we will tell it another time.
Yes,
unless you want
for another time. Wait, I have another question for you.
Sure.
What is the most irrationally violent you've ever been in a bar?
I mean, like, what are we doing? A top 10 list? I don't know. Like,
right.
Irrationally violent. Well, I would say that I try to only get rationally violent inside of bars. But
that's fair.
With that, I still, sure. I would say the most irrationally violent I've ever gotten in a bar was at Niagara. Downstairs, a bar on 7 and 8, which is like a tiki bar, and there's an upstairs, and it's kind of divey, but the downstairs are like grungier and small, and it's just like a very sweaty room. And this girl was dancing behind me, like mimicking me and making fun of me, but she was quite short. I'm 5'10" for the internet, because you can't contextualize that I'm of larger stature. I kind of asked her to stop a few times, and she just continued, and ended up sucker punching her and running out of the bar. So yeah, though, that was irrationally violent. But, have you seen me stand up?
I mean, yeah, right? Like, I'm not going to say I don't think she earned it, honestly.
I feel like every time that I ever am, like, accosted in, like, a weird bar fight kind of scenario, the women are always very petite. And I'm kind of like, are you being serious? Because it's just a matter of physics here. I'm not, like Bruce Lee, although I like to throw down. I would say another good story, Irrationally Violent, was actually at Hank's. I wasn't working. It was way after hours. Actually, there's video of this. Oh, I wonder if I think we tried to recover this video.
There's video of you being irrationally violent?
Yes, my friend Steve has it. Okay, so we were drinking and we went to Hank's, and it's after hours, and Chris was working of Swans, Chris Provka, and these two girls were in the bar, and he wasn't sure if they were of age. They were from Colombia, and they were like hanging out. And then they kind of just got like real agitated, like with everyone. And then kind of like asked my friend Katie, like where she was from. She's from Long Island, like where I'm from. And just like was like, what just got all like, and then it was like just this like bravado and machismo and this like three ladies fighting. So I basically had to like run over and like pick one of them up by like I twisted her arms behind her back, picked her up, brought her to the front door, which was locked. Chris opened the door, we pushed her out, and the other friend like ran at me and jumped on me, like, and I was like carrying her on my back while I was like bringing the other one to the front door. So yeah, that is on video, like way from like, God, that's like 2007 or 8 or something. Like,
I really want to see it.
It's honestly, I would really love to see it too.
But here's my question.
Yeah.
So neither of those events were the event that I thought you might say, which is, Stacy, can you possibly pull up
we don't have the picture. I don't have the.
You don't have the picture.
Oh,
no. I think so. Do you have the pictures of Lauren fighting in Hank's wrestling with Nancy? There was a night where I was working where Lauren and Nancy, it's like a 3-part episode. It should be like right near the very end.
You have those friends you can spar with in like a safe way.
It was pretty ugly. So much so that we made a coffee table book in which it was featured. Yes, here we go. I knew he had it. Look at this. Yeah, Lauren. Yeah. So that's Lauren and Nancy, and that's the first in the segment. Then they go into which is Nancy holding on to, I believe, a bar stool while Lauren tries to attack her from the back. And then you can see it almost looks like they're dancing, but Lauren's trying to wrap the leg in the second photo to take Nancy down to the floor.
How I didn't break a bone in that concrete ever.
Nancy's neck. And then I believe there's even a third photo. If we can bring that up, Stacey. And you can tell it's after hours because there's no one
we
in
had
there.
A free reign. The octagon was open, if you will.
Yeah, and then there's this shot, which is Lauren on top of Nancy. Nancy is fully underneath. It looks like a real fakaked figure skating.
I mean, she's a formidable adversary. What can I say?
True. It's true. I'm very, very proud to have witnessed this particular fight and captured these photos. Oh yeah, there we go. Nancy's got the upper hand for a second. You can see Lauren's a little bit back there. I'm starting to feel like somebody who's narrating like Animal Kingdom or something. You're right, Nancy. I'm sorry. Like the journalist's creed, right? Like you don't step in, you just document. And that's how we know what history is.
All right. I thought you were going to tell like the story of, so there's a night where Ashlie came in, like this Nancy banter. This is the commonplace. Wrestling, just fun, just love fight.
That was fun.
So there was a night where I was working with another bartender named Grady, and Ashlie came in with our friend Matt, who owns Freddy's, and they were both sitting at the bar, and this guy was like a total toolbox, and I basically had to cut him off and throw him out, and he was being just a total fucking ass face about this, and I couldn't really handle it anymore. When I was walking him out and he was putting on his jacket and he was like hitting me with his jacket, like deliberately.
What a douche move.
So I kicked out his knee and he fell out the door. And then when he got up, he was like kind of confused. And I was just like, and then I could tell he was like agitated. We had a bouncer. This is a weekend night because there's 2 bartenders. And I go back in, I go, we may have to deal with some guy outside. And Ashlie just gets up, takes off her fucking hoops at the front, puts them on the fucking table, Like that's how you know you got a friend that you can go to dive bars with. She's taking off the earrings right when you get her. You say anything.
For the first time, I think I acted before I spoke. Oh, Leon Chase. Yes, I did knock a guy over a pool table in Little Rock. That was the summer where I feel like the only friends I had in town were people that were like working at the bars. You know what I mean? So you're just like sitting and drinking and waiting for your friends to get off work. And so I was at Midtown, and this guy just keeps humping up on girls. You know what I mean? Like just humping up. And he does it a couple of times to me. And I turn to him and I say, if you do that again, I'm going to hit you. And he's like, oh, and like backs away. This is a bar that is open. It's a private club dive that's like open till 7 a.m. every morning in Little Rock, maybe 6 a.m. Somebody correct me on that. And they clean during holidays. They like close at 6, open at like 10, you know? And they never clean, and it's filthy and wonderful. But then this guy had such a short memory that like 30 minutes later, he came up and the band was playing a cover of Twist and Shout. And I just remember that he like wrapped his arms around my waist and was like grunting. It was like, sing it up, baby. And I turned around and as my friend Lance told me later, because I didn't fully remember this, I didn't even set down my beer. I just switched hands with it. And then I hit the guy, and it wasn't that I was that strong. It was just that he was that shit-faced. He did, it was so satisfying. I will never get this moment again, which is probably why I will never hit anybody in a bar again. He went like, he was just tall enough for his ass to hit the rail of the pool table. And so he went over it, and his legs go over his head, and he did a full fucking roll and fell on the other side of the pool table. And then I was like, what? Like a real fucking idiot. And then I was worried about getting kicked out, but then he got kicked out because they had been watching him the whole night, which made me go like, well, why didn't you do anything? But then I wouldn't have been able to hit a guy over a pool table. So
yeah,
it was one of my finest hours in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, getting to fight dudes is always fun. It's always a highlight for me.
Truly.
But I won't focus on that because I feel like that's not a positive attitude. So I feel like we probably don't have enough time to hit some of the stories we have on our outline, but we'll save them for another day.
We have so many stories. We have ghost stories. We have romantic stories. But the good news is that we do this show every other Friday, and every fourth one is going to be like a dive bar night. So you're either going to hit a strip club night, a dive bar night, a gambling night, or a drag club night. Or drag show night. So
yeah, we'll start having guests once we do our next introductory episode of drag and gambling. Yeah. We would love if you guys followed us on Instagram at Bring Singles. We're gonna post some photos. Like I may find the picture of Ashley's hoops on the table at Hank's. I was also gonna post a picture of, I was gonna ask Ashlie if you know this, but I was gonna say the most interesting tip I ever got as a bartender.
Ooh, I don't know that story.
Was at Hank's, and I have it. It's a horseshoe, and I have it above my door for good luck. But the best thing about it, this was a guy. He's drinking all day with me, and when he left a $5 bill, and on top of it was this horseshoe that was off a fresh, like a horse that day. Like he must have come from Belmont or something. I've never smelled something like it. It wasn't the shit like from the bottom that was weird. It was like the hoof smell. It was fucking weird. So I cleaned it and kept it because I thought this has to be good luck, and it was just the coolest thing anybody's ever given me. And I've always had it above my door for good luck.
I had a tip from a guy that drank with me all day, and it also smelled weird, but it was a guitar pick from the guy from the Spin Doctors, and it had his name on it. And he was, I think, really disappointed that I didn't know he was in the Spin Doctors. But to my credit, I never really paid too much attention to what that guy looked like.
Did he talk really fast?
Yeah, he did actually. And I think his wife is now more successful than him. But the guitar pick also had not just the name of the band on it, but also his name on it. So yes, I would say he was exceedingly proud to be in the Spin Doctors. And you know, when people like talk too much about your playlist, you're like, you're trying to prove something. I don't know what, but you're trying to prove something. And what he was trying to prove was that he was in like a band that had a very successful album in the 90s.
All right, I want to just quote one story off of that because it won't come up again.
Please.
It's not bar related. Okay,
And then we'll go.
I used to work at Otto for Mario Batali, and I convinced the general manager when Michael Stipe was there one time, because Michael Stipe is friends with Mario Batali, and Michael Stipe was in the restaurant, and REM came on our like iPod shuffle, and I said to him, "Oh, I read an article that Michael Stipe gets really uncomfortable when he hears REM when he's out." So the general manager skipped it because they were all like real fucking star fuckers. Like they were just really stupid there about like any VIP, which is funny because Dr. Zizmore's wife, Dr. Z, the fucking
dimple doctor, first or second wife.
She used to come all the time and try to act like a VIP. It was hilarious. But anyway, so after
you got an ad on the subway, don't mean
general manager got in trouble because Michael Stipe noticed that his song was skipped and said something to Mario, and Mario had to say something to the general manager, and the general manager looked at me and I was just like, "You fucking idiot! Like, why would you skip it in the middle? It's just awkward. Like, there's no winning."
That's unfortunate.
Permanent asshole over here. I wasn't fired for a few months though.
That's great. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. It's 8:02. Hey, everybody, we have so many more stories to tell. We have so many more of you to embarrass. I didn't even get to the fact about my friend Cheyenne's Tanya Tucker story at Whitewater, which is really great. There's so many stories.
Write it down. Take notes.
I will.
All right, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
And remember, when you come to party with us, bring singles.
Goodbye.
I was wandering around on a little side street downtown, just trying to get myself in out of the rain, when I stepped into a bar where I'd never been before, and there stood the most beautiful bartender I had ever seen. She had eyes the color of $40 whiskey, with a free and easy smile, like a siren on the rocks, all sweethearted, scrubbed, yummy goodness, with a look in her eye that said, "Come on in and sit down a while." So I found myself a bar stool, and I proceeded to have a few. And I watched her from the corner of my eye. With a toss of her hair and the simple flick of a bottle, she filled that dark bar room and my life with light. Well, it was after the 4th or 5th beer that I got the big idea to open up my mouth and tell her what was on my mind. What I meant to say was, "Hi there, how you doing?" But what came out was, "You're the woman I should be with till the end of time." Oh, she just smiled, the way she always did. But then her eyes got distant, and she shook her head. Then she poured another beer for my drunk ass, and with her hand still on the glass, she leaned in close, and this is what she said. "Let's keep this bar between us, for your sake and mine. I'll only end up